Published 11:03 the 15th of November 2017, updated 12:40 the 15th of November 2017. Daryll Rowe has been convicted of GBH for deliberately infecting men with HIV through unprotected and by sabotaging condoms. A hairdresser faces a possible life sentence for trying to infect as many men as possible with HIV in a revenge campaign on the gay community after he was diagnosed with the virus. Daryll Rowe, originally from Edinburgh, infected 5 men from the Brighton area in the northeast with HIV, while 5 others narrowly escaped contracting the life-changing virus. He was found guilty of 5 counts of causing grievous bodily harm and 5 of attempting to cause GBH today in a prosecution hailed as the first of its kind. The judge adjourned sentencing until next year but warned Rowe he could face a life sentence for his crimes. The extent of Rowe's malicious scheme to take revenge on the gay community following his diagnosis was laid bare in a 6-week trial. Lewis Crown Court has heard Rowe had hatched the plan almost the moment he received the news in April 2015 that he had contracted HIV from his previous boyfriend. He was told about the treatments available, but stunned medical staff in his home city of Edinburgh by informing them he did not want to take antiretroviral drugs. When caught and interviewed by police, he denied he had HIV and claimed he was clear. He then failed to attend further follow-up appointments in September and October 2015 because he had already moved to Brighton to embark on his plan. Although he initially had nowhere to live or stay, he began to make contact with men on the gay dating app, Grindr. Rowe would exchange a series of messages with the men before meeting up with them at their homes where they would have. Speaking after his convictions today, Detective Inspector Andy Wolstenholme said this trial is the first time that a person has been charged and convicted of deliberately infecting others with HIV in the country. The verdict today is very welcome. It will bring some closure to the victims who have been very strong and supportive through the investigation. By bravely giving evidence in the trial, it sends a clear message that despite the complex and highly sensitive nature of such a case, the police and prosecutors will not shy away from investigating allegations of deliberate HIV transmission in order to keep people safe. Rowe met the men on gay dating app Grindr and sent taunting messages after hooking up. Rowe's first victim picked up the hairdresser in his car and they had unprotected. But when the man panicked and refused to continue, Rowe became extremely hostile. The man said he feared for his safety as Rowe became furious and accused him of wasting his evening. The victim told the court he would leave. It felt like an hour of him going on and on. I thought he was so angry he was going to throw a brick at my car. I thought he'd have to go back to work and explain a black eye or something. He was really angry. He got out of the car. I cried all the way home. Shocked by his behavior, the victim refused to meet Rowe again, which led the hairdresser to send a series of abusive texts taunting him. In one he said, "Maybe you have the fever. I came inside you and I have HIV lol." Oops. Rowe refused NHS treatment for the virus and instead hatched a revenge campaign. Weeks later, the first victim began to develop flu-like symptoms and was later diagnosed as HIV positive. 2 dock officers have been sacked for falling asleep during Daryll Rowe's trial. They were removed from court proceedings after being reported for snoring. Investigations were launched by the Ministry of Justice and security firm GOME after complaints were made. A GOME spokesman said clearly the behavior of the 2 GOME officers involved was unacceptable and not representative of the hard work and high professional standards of their colleagues. We conducted an internal investigation into the circumstances and after consideration of the facts we took the correct, but nonetheless regrettable, decision to dismiss the officers. We now consider this matter closed. Rowe's second Grindr victim insisted on safe with a condom. The Usborne man had to push Rowe off of him on more than one occasion when he tried to have without protection. Rowe quickly devised an alternative plan, and as he put on the condom in the dark bedroom, he ripped off the end before the pair had intercourse. Days later, Rowe began taunting and abusing the man by text message and told him, "I ripped the condom. Burn. I got you." Alive to the possibility men could insist on safe, Rowe decided to leave nothing to chance. He bought his own condoms and sabotaged them so his victims wouldn't notice the damage and he could continue to spread the virus. A pattern was set. If a victim refused to agree to unprotected, he could simply reach for one of his torn condoms, hoodwinking his unsuspecting victim into thinking he was having sex. Caroline Carberry QC told Lewis Crown Court Daryll Rowe embarked on a cynical and deliberate campaign to infect other men with HIV, having high-risk UAL intercourse knowing he was highly infectious. Unfortunately for many of the men he met, his campaign was successful. He deceived those men into believing he was HIV negative, reassuring those he was intimate with. Rowe met his victims of the hookup app Grindr, a dating app for gay and bi men. Rowe's malicious crusade to infect as many men as possible was discovered after victims began to fall ill and went to police. Fearing there was a lone suspect attempting to spread HIV to as many men as possible, a public health warning was issued. When the first two men were diagnosed with HIV, police swooped and arrested Rowe, who subsequently denied having HIV and claimed he had never met the men concerned. Between February and April, a number of other men came forward after reading about the warning in the local press. Rowe was released and bailed to the address of a relative in North Berwick, near Edinburgh, but he absconded and continued his plan, having with two further men before eventually being apprehended. Self-styled vegan hippie who was exposed during his trial as a cruel liar who enjoying playing with victims' emotions, Daryll Rowe presented himself as a softly spoken vegan hippie who was looking for love, but in court it emerged he was actually a nasty individual who could quickly become angry. Originally from Edinburgh, he was taken into care at a young age and fostered from the age of 7. He left school after taking his GCSEs and trained as a hairdresser at college. He came out as gay at the age of 15. In the same year he experienced his first UAL encounter. He travelled to Australia for a year to visit his brothers in Perth before moving back to Edinburgh to work. Rowe presented himself as a healthy living vegan, even posting health videos. Rowe became a vegan after turning vegetarian at the age of 18 and said he chose to move to Brighton because of its gay and vegan-friendly atmosphere. The 27-year-old was very spiritual and lived by the mantra of love, life and positivity. He loved star signs, likening himself with characteristics of his Libra symbol of being relationship-orientated, artistic, creative and balanced. After he was diagnosed with HIV in April 2015, he said he tried urine therapy in a bid to rid himself of the illness. This eventually saw him drinking his own urine every morning and regularly throughout the day, he claimed. He hides his identity as his true personality began to be exposed during his trial. This was supplemented with a whole range of natural remedies, oregano, coconut and olive leaf oils, which were reported as also helping to combat HIV, he claimed. But the prosecution stripped away his unassuming, healthy living persona and exposed him as a cruel and calculating liar. It emerged he would use fillers to plump up his top lip. He said he was told this was a synthetic version of acid naturally found in the body, so he was comfortable with having the injections and admitted taking prescribed medication after contracting gonorrhea, genital warts and herpes. The court also heard how he sent a string of horrible and cruel text messages to several of his victims once they had been romantically involved. He played with them when they became concerned and questioned his HIV status and intentionally tormented them. He even accused his victims of lying when they told police and jury he had said he was free of the virus before they had. April 2015, Daryll Rowe is diagnosed with HIV. October 2015, the 26-year-old moves to Brighton, East Sus, after speaking to men who live in the city on gay dating app Grindr. October 2015 to February 2016, Rowe meets and has with 8 different men in Brighton. Rowe went on the run and tried to infect more men after he was caught by police. February 5, 2016, Sus police arrest and question the hairdresser in Brighton when UAL health clinic staff raise concerns after 2 patients contracting HIV provide similar descriptions of the person they had with. Rowe denies being HIV positive and knowing the 2 men. He is released on bail until April and told to stay out of Sus. February 23, 2016, police and health officials publish a warning, urging gay men in Brighton and Hove to get tested if they had with a man in his 20s with a Scottish accent. Another victim comes forward. May 2016, officers question Rowe again when he answers bail in Berwick-upon-Tweed, Northumberland. By this time they have his medical records and know he has lied about being HIV positive. He is rebailed twice until November 2016. Rowe goes on the run. Sutton, Northumbria police forces launch a manhunt. He is found at the home of another man in the Wallsend, North Tyneside, and is arrested. Officers are handed his rucksack, which is found to contain condoms which were tampered with before being placed back into the packet. Rowe is remanded in custody. December 2016, police charge Rowe with 7 counts of causing grievous bodily harm and 1 count of attempting to do so. He appears in custody at Newcastle Crown Court on Boxing Day and the case is transferred to Lewes Crown Court. February 2017, Rowe denies the charges, which are amended several times over the coming months as more victims come forward and their HIV status changes. October 2017, by the time Rowe stands trial, he faces allegations from 10 men. During the proceedings, the indictment is amended for a final time, to reflect 5 charges of grievous bodily harm with intent and 5 of attempting to do so. November 2017, Rowe is convicted of all 10 charges by the jury panel of 7 women and 5 men. Sorry, we are not currently accepting comments on this article.